In a major breaking development, the newly merged Skydance and Paramount have set their sights on WB Discovery, and they are moving to put in a bid to buy the company before it splits this upcoming spring. This would effectively make them one of the major power players in Hollywood instantly overnight. So earlier today, WB Discovery shares jumped 25% after a brand new and very credible report from the Wall Street Journal suggested that recent power play moves by the newly merged Paramount Skydance were preparing a takeover bid of WB Discovery. Now, here's what CNBC stated, and I quote, Warner Brothers Discovery shares soar more than 25% this afternoon as a report from the Wall Street Journal that the recently merged Skydance Paramount was preparing a takeover bid. Shares of Paramount Skydance went up roughly 8% in the afternoon trading. Representatives at Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery declined to comment. Warner Brothers Discovery recently announced plans to separate its global TV network business from its streaming business and studios. The Journal reported Thursday that Paramount Skydance bid would be for the entirety of WBD. This is a breaking news story. Please refresh for updates. End quote. Okay, oh boy, do we have a lot to cover in here, guys. This is going to be a longer video. You can probably tell by the length of it. I'm not sure how long this is going to go. We are going to have to break this down step by step, and we're going to really get into it. So, just so you guys are aware, this is more than likely going to happen. If that's all you need to know, that's what I'm telling you right now. If you want to know the logistics, well, that's going to be in the next part. So I know there's going to be a good amount of people that don't even know what's going on. So yes, recently Paramount and Skydance merged. Now this was something that was in the works for a bit, and it's already resulted in a ton of casualties. Dexter Original Sin, a prequel to the Dexter series, which I absolutely love, despite its overwhelming reception and huge viewership numbers, it was still canceled. They're actually in the midst of like a bloodbath with the merger of the two, with cancellations of projects all across the board. But the merger was done because neither company was going to survive on their own. Now, that's not a bad thing. Like Fox, people argued they shouldn't sell. There was no other option. They were always going to sell because they couldn't survive in today's environment. That's just the nature of the business. Paramount and Skydance merged. We're already seeing tons of new announcements while cancellations are happening because, again, they're trying to more or less trim fat and focus on what works. So what we're seeing now is that essentially Paramount and Skydance want to make another power move, which would then effectively put them up there equal to Disney and equal to Universal. Because right now, the only real outlier is Sony. They're on their own, doing their own thing, making tons of partnerships with all these companies, while all these other companies are realizing that mergers are the only thing that's going to keep them afloat due to massive catalogs of properties that they already own, but also they got to compete with the likes of Netflix and Amazon and Apple to a certain degree. So again, there is so much to unpack here. And what we got right now is WB, again, in a problem position. WB has been handed off and on to another company as long as I've been alive. When I first started to really get into caring about the film industry and all this stuff, WB was sold to AOL. And then every decade, they're sold like once or twice over. In the last 15 years, they've changed hands and multiple CEOs nonstop. This has to stop because, again, WB Discovery has so much debt that they are still not profitable. Any profits that Superman made, which it did, are all going to pay off debt. They're not seeing profits. This is why you're seeing all these other companies like Vulture flying around a soon-to-be carcass, right? This is what's happening. Now, the big question is going to be, and I know it's coming, so I'm going to address it here. What happens to WB properties? What happens to HBO? What happens to films? What's going to happen to everything we like from WB? I don't know, but I'm going to take a good educated guess, just like I did when I was predicting 5 years before it happened that Disney would buy Fox. Because there's a pattern here. WB has a number of properties and, of course, outlets. They got TV, they got sports, they got tons of distribution rights, they got IPs that they acquired, they got IPs that they're farming out. Same thing as Paramount and Skydance. And this is the key. Pulling everything in, make sure that they got enough to live. They got enough to survive any potential other contender for what could be WB in 2 years being more worthless than they are now. And then somebody else might jump in. They are jumping in right now because they have an opportunity to save themselves and everybody else. Remember, Paramount and Skydance merged out of necessity. WB is in the same boat. WB merged with Discovery out of necessity, and WB Discovery is struggling. So what happens is everything would be consolidated under one. So every Paramount, every Skydance, every WB property goes under one roof, a new CEO after provisional time where the current CEOs and everybody's allowed to stay. And then what happens is what is called a bloodbath. Not a technical term, but that's what I'm going to call it. Essentially, everything you know will be on the chopping block. Nothing will be safe. Let me repeat this. Nothing will be safe. People will say one thing or another. They are factually wrong because nothing will be safe. Everything will be up for a reevaluation. It doesn't matter how profitable you are. Because as I keep saying, and people keep saying I'm making stuff up, and then it happens every other time, or I should say every time, when a new CEO and an owner gets ownership of the previous thing, they cannot do the same thing that the old people did because then they admit they're not making a better choice. Hence why in the 3 years that WB and DC or the DCEU went through multiple different hands, they pulled it in different directions. Everybody wants their own stamp. Nothing will be safe. No, not even DC Studios. As a matter of fact, they're probably the ones that are in most danger of being ripped apart. Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.